News Radio 1120 KPNW. Good morning. Joining us on the wake-up call this morning, it is the election season. Joining us once again, she is going for the 4th District of Congress. Second time running against Val Hoyle. It is none other than Monique Despain joining us on the wake-up call. Hi, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
I can barely hear you, Bill.
Did we wake you up?
You motivated me to get up a little earlier than I might usually.
Oh, okay.
It's not too far off.
Okay, good. Glad that we were able to do that for you.
I'm just not usually on my toes this early, but I could hear Mandy so much more clearly than I hear you.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we'll just let you two ladies talk, and I'll go out and, have a breakfast burrito or something.
Okay, that's better. I can hear you better.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, you were at the parole hearing for the individual that beat, raped, and murdered the little girl down in Douglas County. You were there at that parole hearing where he was denied parole. Kind of what was your takeaway from it?
Thank God he was denied parole. Well, you never know if the public pressure campaign that we applied helped the parole board come to the right decision. But what my takeaway was is how we need to help the public understand how we get into these crazy situations where we actually have a parole board. It was actually a release hearing, considering the release of a dangerous criminal, rapist, murderer who was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, where the judge looked the family in the eye and said he will never walk free again in Roseburg is where he would have been released.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lawmakers in Salem that pass laws that roll out these soft on crime laws. And so that was a major takeaway for me. I saw a lot of, hang the judge, but it was Senate Bill 1008, as we discussed, rolled out by Senator Prozansky, signed by the governor. And by the way, Val Hoyle was her very early political career. She was a legislative aide and policy analyst for Prozansky, just finding ways to help criminals and make the world a dangerous place for the rest of us and victims. But anyway, and then the other thing that people didn't understand is that Senate Bill 1008 was the basis of this commutation order of Kate Brown.
Yep.
That the reason that we were in that hearing, and there's about 79 other similar criminals who are going to get periodic review and consideration for early release. And so under the law, it will be either every 2 years or anywhere between 2 and 10 years that they'll, have their next hearing. And so the maximum wait for the next release hearing for this particular murderer is 10 years. And so they did give the maximum wait time. His next release hearing will be in 10 years. But again, that's defies the judge's order and the reasonable expectation of the family.
Well, and the reasonable expectation of the community and the reasonable expectation of citizens at large. I mean, why have a penalty of life in prison if it isn't going to be the penalty? Now, I'll admit, there are some people that kill others, and yes, a life sentence isn't maybe necessary in that case. But in a case like this, considering the heinousness of this crime, there is no reason that anybody should have an expectation that this guy's ever going to be out on the streets ever again.
That's right. How can we restore faith and trust in our government when they don't deliver on a promise? And it's just crazy how it's become.
Okay.
So, but people really need to understand that they are electing state and federal representatives, who are lawmakers. I continue to see that, and it's not anyone's fault in particular. I mean, it's on us to educate people so they understand that, connect the dots. Elections have consequences, and it just rolls down to this particular example. And the thing that was kind of interesting about this is, yes, I'm running for Congress, and I got this call because I met some future constituents in Roseburg because I'm running for Congress. But I was, Kevin Mannix and I sued Kate Brown when she issued that commutation order. And this murderer, Dustin Wallace, was on that commutation list, the subject of our lawsuit, where we asserted that she had abused her commutation order. So, and ultimately, all the Kate Brown appointed judges said she has unfettered commutation powers, clemency powers. And so I actually did write a letter to the governor, Kotek, and urged her to use that unfettered clemency power to revoke this order, because it's not just about this particular case. Like I said, there's 79 other individuals who committed these Measure 11 heinous crimes when they were juveniles, and that's why they're being given this opportunity to be heard again and released. So anyway, I'm hoping that our future governor, Christine Drazan, will have this opportunity to revoke that order and keep those people where the judges intended them to be.
All right, so you've been hitting the streets, of course, because you're out there campaigning. You showed up at a Eugene Neighborhood Leaders Council. How was that? Did you guys play bridge? Maybe a little poker, a little gambling?
No,
beer and
I'm
pool?
constantly amazed at community leaders who are not necessarily elected, who are the glue that hold it together down on the ground for all of us, we the people in the neighborhoods. And my friend Jensina Hawkins, I don't know if you know her. I got to know her because she was kind of spoke out on behalf of the Asian American community when the Skyline 7, the Colombian burglary ring.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah.
She used to be a previous police commissioner, serving on the police commission. Anyway, she co-chairs the Eugene Neighborhood Leaders Council. She co-chairs it with Jason Alessino. And they get together. I lose track of time. It seems like every other month or so. And so several neighborhoods have these active neighborhood associations. And there were 16 of them there. So there's like a Whitaker Neighborhood Association, Bethel, Churchill.
Yeah.
And they get together, the leaders of each of those community neighborhood associations. They get together and talk about the issues. It was a really good one. Chief Skinner was there, Sheriff Carl Wilkerson, and our DA, Chris Perosa, were there to speak and just answer questions. And you probably have heard about this. They're doing an enforcement campaign on Highway 99. Yep. You've probably reported on that.
This morning.
There was a discussion about
You've
that.
reported on all of the news that I've done so far this morning, but go ahead.
Well, normally when I drive into the studio, I get to hear all of it.
Okay.
I didn't hear it this morning.
Yeah.
Well, that's starting today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were just fielding questions, but of course the issues we all know are plaguing our neighborhoods came up: the homelessness, the addicted. Chief Skinner said, gave a little statistic. He said 40% of the people that we see that are kind of making people nervous and feel unsafe, the homeless, the addicted, the mentally ill, 40% of them, he said, do not want help. I know that there's a segment of them, but that was a big number, which just goes to show, in solving this problem, we're going to have a law enforcement component for the people who don't want to stop ranting and running around naked or doing their fentanyl.
There's gonna have to be some, as the saying goes, some tough love, because essentially what's happening right now is just enablement.
That's right. No, the problem's growing.
Any other takeaways from that made kind of an impact What was a question like, for instance, were they asking you?
Oh, well, I was not on the panel. So here, I did have an interesting experience. So it's similar to what I just said about the parole board. People do not understand that the law enforcement, they are not the lawmaking branch,
Mm-hmm.
They have to comply with the law, whether they agree with it or not. And when you hear law enforcement say their hands are tied, I urge them to explain what that means. And it's that there are laws that have been passed by the Oregon state legislature, and there are federal laws too, but the ones that are really constraining our communities from seeing the results that we need to see, law enforcement, law and order, is all passed by elected representatives. So Chris Peroza, he's an excellent DA. He was explaining that in like the gentlest terms. And so I asked just for a point of clarification, aren't these laws that are coming out of the Oregon state legislature, because you hear about police policies, local ordinances and such, but the real constraints are out of that are laws that were passed in the legislature. And I asked that as a question just to draw that out for the group, because I just don't feel like people understand we have the power to change this by electing representatives who are pro-law enforcement and pro-law and order and pro-victims. Anyway, now that I'm running for office, whenever I speak up, if it's a mixed crowd, sometimes I get asked to shut up and not campaign. And it is a real issue that they need to understand. You can't just keep talking about the problem and not understand what the solution is. Solution is to have lawmakers that are going to pass laws that support law enforcement.
Joining us on the wake-up call, Monique Despain. I don't know why this person is asking this question, but I'll ask it anyway. They're asking, was that held at a local credit union? This off the Papa's Pizza text line.
Oh, no, it was at the Mission.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've been to some of the actual, like the Whitaker. I haven't been to theirs. I've been to the River Road, Santa Clara. They have them on all different locations. In Santa Clara, they have it at a church that's on River Road. But this leadership, the leaders of each of them, they seem to be. I've been to a few meetings at the Mission.
All right, we just have about a minute left. Upcoming events where you're doing roundtables where people can meet you, ask you questions and the like. What do you have?
Well, we are planning a Safe Communities Roundtable where we will have law enforcement and other stakeholders in the whole homelessness community. That's going to be the last week of July. More to come on that. But I will be in Roseburg this weekend. I am door knocking, and I have some great volunteers. We've knocked over 4,000 doors. We aim to knock many more. So I'm going to an event at Melrose Vineyard to celebrate the 250th birthday of our great nation in Roseburg Saturday. And then on Sunday, we will be door knocking, but we're going to meet at the Backside Brewery at 12:30 Sunday. Just take a break from door knocking just have a meet and greet, and anyone can come and talk to me there. All
right. We appreciate having you on. We've got a heart out here. Monique, appreciate having you on. Monique Despain, running for the 4th District of Congress. It is the Wake Up Call, KPNW.
Thanks, Bill. Bye, Mandy.